Let's Stop the Futile War on Pain, Part 2. Again, I'm Byram Jam. Thank you for joining me. 3 recommended paradigm shifts when dealing with pain. The old paradigm is ignore pain, and the modern paradigm is be mindful of pain, and I shall explain that in this presentation. The old paradigm is eliminate pain, and the modern paradigm is communicate with pain. Again, I shall explain that in the next few minutes. The old paradigm is avoid painful activities, and the modern paradigm is graded exposure to activities feared, based on tolerance. So let's begin. The old paradigm, which is ignore pain, involves a pain experience, such as putting your hand on a stovetop or having a nail in your foot. If you ignore the pain in this experience, it results in the nervous system getting pissed off or angry, which increases the sensitivity so you don't ignore its messages at the present moment and in the future. So the old paradigm involving ignoring pain, which is passed on to our children and as adults, we believe if you feel pain, just ignore it and move on. It's not conducive to recovery. The modern paradigm is be mindful of pain, which means if you have a pain experience, again, hand on a stovetop or a nail into your foot, be mindful of pain and be present with it, but in a non-judgmental way. Means you acknowledge the threat, but you do not judge it as being good or bad. That way you can take more action. The nervous system appreciates the attention, and you get reduced sensitivity as pain wants to be acknowledged, and be assured that you're listening to it in order to take appropriate action. The old paradigm of ignoring pain changes to the modern paradigm of be mindful of pain. The old paradigm eliminate pain. You have a pain experience, such as hand on a stovetop or a nail in the foot. You do everything to fix the pain, such as, say, take painkillers if your hand's on a stovetop or you have a nail in your foot. The nervous system gets pissed off or angry again, and you get increased sensitivity, so you actually listen to it instead of just trying to get rid of it. As you can imagine, if your hand is on a hot stovetop and you just take painkillers, it's not going to help the actual cause of the pain in the hand. If you have a nail in your foot and you take painkillers, again, it's not going to help the actual cause of the pain. It's simply trying to numb the pain, which is not conducive to recovery. The modern paradigm is to communicate with the pain. That's when you have a pain experience, again, hand on a hot stovetop or a nail on the foot or back pain, whatever it is, you do everything to address the underlying reasons for the pain. And the nervous system appreciates the attention. You get reduced sensitivity as pain wants the potential dangers acknowledged and addressed. And in the Pain Truth program, there are 10 danger factors and 10 safety factors that are potentially contributing factors to persistent pain. So the old paradigm is to eliminate the pain is replaced with the modern paradigm as communicate with the pain. Next, the old paradigm is to avoid painful activities. So when you have a pain experience, say you burn your hand on a stovetop, you avoid or limit all potentially painful activities for months, meaning you don't go to the kitchen to cook anymore. They don't do any of the activities associated with potentially dealing with a stove or perhaps even entering a kitchen due to fear of burning your hand again. So the nervous system becomes less resilient. This increased sensitivity when the activity is attempted or performed unintentionally. So the person may attempt once in a while to cook or bake or do something, but because of reduced endurance and the fear and avoidance that they've had for so long, they're no longer able to do the same activities that they did as a result of the original injury, which was burning the hand on a stovetop. So the modern paradigm is to regularly and intentionally expose self to the activities feared. So you have the pain experience, hand on a stovetop, you get graded exposure to the potentially painful activities and movements. So you do everything to get yourself back in the kitchen. Now your nervous system becomes more resilient and you get reduced sensitivity when the activity is performed intentionally in a non-threatening way. One may start, of course, cooking, staying away from the stovetop for a while. and then gradually exposing yourself to cooking on a stove. Old paradigm, to avoid painful activities, is replaced with the modern paradigm of regularly and intentionally expose self to the activities and movements feared. Remember, not only have we not reduced the prevalence of chronic pain and its associated disability, the rate has been consistently rising with each passing decade. So something must change. Healthcare providers need to know their limits and not offer unrealistic cures using passive approaches. Healthcare providers need to focus on empowering patients to build their self-efficacy and gain control of their lives. However, a shift away from high-tech quick fix, predominantly passive approaches represents a significant change to the prevailing model of practice. A biomedical model prevails, and not a biopsychosocial one, which in turn creates financial incentives that may be contrary to self-management and patient empowerment. When it comes to persistent musculoskeletal pain, healthcare providers need to move away from treating pain symptoms and move more towards targeting the underlying drivers of the pain symptoms through self-management. Again, the Pain Truth program involves addressing the 10 safety factors and the 10 danger factors that are potentially contributing factors to persistent pain. When it comes to persistent pain, it's time we moved away from quick fixes, but towards long-term mindset and lifestyle changes, as undoubtedly the pain experience is complex. The concept of war on drugs seemed like a good idea at the time, but it has failed the society miserably. The concept of war on pain seemed like a good idea at the time, but again, it has failed the society miserably. Something must change. The old paradigm, ignore pain, eliminate pain, and avoid painful activities, must be replaced with modern paradigm, which is be mindful of pain, communicate with pain, and graded exposure to activities once feared, based on tolerance. Fully understanding and making these three paradigm shifts are not easy, but certainly possible. If you wish to learn more about the process, please view the videos and listen to the audios freely accessible on thepaintruth.org. Thank you for spending this time with me.